I think people are confused right now with what makes you a man.
Right.
What makes you masculine, right? There's the dialogue where people say, oh, real men, they meet someone, they get married, they sleep with the same person for the rest of their life.
Right.
And there's other guys that are like, before you get married, sleep with 100 women, test it out, because that's how you know. And here's the thing, I like the idea of just sleeping with one woman, getting married, and having a great life. I have friends that do it, and I respect them a lot.
Yeah.
But I also think that for a lot of men, genetically, and maybe we have to fight our genetics on this, but you're naturally gonna have, I guess, temptations to do other
temptation,
things.
yeah.
And then I guess looking forward, like looking more into that also, I think when it comes to your value as a man, one litmus test to gauge your value as a man. A lot of other things don't do this, right? Because money doesn't gauge your value as a man. Because there's a bunch of people that are rich that are fucking shit, you know? Like they're shitty people. They're rich, but they have no personality. They're out of shape. It's like you're not really a high value man. I hate the term, but high value man. There's people that are in shape, but they don't make any money. So they're not hardworking. They're not unambitious. The only way you really gauge your value as a man, the ultimate litmus test, is how many women want to sleep with you. And not only that, not want to sleep with you, because that's something that's perspective. You can say, oh, a bunch of women want to sleep with me, but you don't know unless they actually sleep with you. So the ultimate litmus test, I was saying, is like how many women you've slept with, or the quality of women you've slept with. Right? I like, there's something that said that you have to sleep with at least 50 women before getting married and picking one. I don't know if that's the case. I think you have to sleep with, like, let's say you sleep with, I don't know, Beyonce. You get Beyonce to cheat on Jay-Z with you. That's how you know you're the fucking man. You can sleep with any woman on the planet if that's the case. You only, if that's how you lose your virginity, you just convince Beyonce to cheat on Jay-Z with you. That's the only woman you have to sleep with for the rest of your life. You can get married after that. You know you're a high value man. You passed the litmus test. You know, so I don't think there's a number, but I do think that a woman sleeping with a man is the ultimate litmus test, because women are the ones who decide, like, because when they say high value, they're talking about the dating market or like your value as a man. So women are the ones they're the gatekeepers of that. So they can determine, right, who are the men that like are desired. Because ultimately, I think if we're gonna just talk from a genetic perspective or a scientific perspective, human beings were created to procreate. I guess that's a biblical perspective as well. Human beings were put on the planet to procreate, to have children, to reproduce, and if a lot of women want to reproduce with you, you're a successful human being. Right.
And I think and also resourceful as well, because a lot of times people, when the conversation surrounded of high value man and everything, right? And I think the desirability of women to want to be with you, that plays a very large role. So if you're now in a situation where you make the money, you have the contacts, you have the success, but you don't have that women who like you, then you become like that dork area. So like you're the geek individual who has all of this stuff, but then you're like, oh, could you really like come over and sleep with, like you don't want to be that type of person. So it's essential to be able to pull right at those levels. And the fact that somebody like a Beyonce, because if you look amongst women and where you would rank with achievement, beauty, their essence, aura per se, she's up there, right?
When she's with the billionaire. So that's the ultimate litmus test.
So with that being
if there's a billionaire that's with you, then obviously you're...
And her willingness to want to leave that to go with you. And it's not just, okay, she left and slept with me. She left, slept with me, and then wants to be with me. Okay, cool, I'm good. I don't have
that validates you, period.
Right, that validates you, right? And that's not to say, oh, well, that's the only way to, become a high value. But if you're in a situation where the women who you sleep with or the women who you frequent, they're women of quality. They're also
I was going to say that, like if you sleep, like it's not the amount of women you sleep with. Let's say you sleep with a thousand trashy women, like overweight, obese, will sleep with anyone. You sleep with 1,000 of those women. That doesn't make you a high value man. You're just disgusting at that point.
You just sleep. You just sleep with any of the
exactly.
Quantity doesn't overtake the quality.
100%.
And I think it's moreover the lessons that you learn in the midst of trying to accumulate that amount, because as you get closer and closer, you start to notice, like, wait a minute, there's certain intangibles that I could take away from the process. Like if you're somebody who's no longer afraid of the approach, you're actually able to be comfortable around the women. You're able to create an experience to where they want to go and hang out. Like for example, like Dan Bilzerian or whatever the case is. Like it's gotten to a point now where, let's just say he was paying the women to go around. You think that's gonna have to last forever?
Yeah.
Women will just naturally, okay, I've turned 18,
yeah.
I've turned 21, I've turned 25.
I want to go hang out with Dan Bilzerian.
I want to go hang out with Dan Bilzerian because it seems like it's very cool. He's a vibe, as they would say. So with that being the case, once you get to that particular kind of point, now that value is solidified. It's there. And that's the other approach, like the McGregor approach
so
versus like the
I think
Khabib
that's where
approach.
I guess the difference is.
Right.
When people say like high value man, people misinterpret it. High value man, if we're going to just talk by definition, is a man that a lot of women want to be with. Mm-hmm. You're very valuable, so you're really valuable as a reproductive resource. So
you're the guy women want to be with. You're the dude who guys want to be.
That's like what a high value man.
Yeah.
There's a difference between being a high value man and an honorable man. Mm-hmm. And a principled man.
Right.
You know? So you can have a Khabib who married his wife, been with her ever since, doesn't look at other women, doesn't even take pictures. I thought that was dope. He said he doesn't take pictures with other women. Mm-hmm. So he met with the CEO of a company that he really likes. He took a picture with the CEO's husband because the CEO was a woman. Right. Because he doesn't take pictures with other women. Yeah. I think there's something honorable, something principled about that. Mm-hmm. You know? He's a high value man in his own sense. But you have a Dan Bilzerian who's around a bunch of women. He's also a high value man. You can't deny that. It's just he's not like an honorable man. He's not a principled man. He's not necessarily. What are you gonna say, David?
Yeah. So I was gonna comment on that if you don't mind. So is that?
He plugged his mic in too. He's like, I want to get in on this.
Gotta get that.
Is that then value? Because there's Khabib is a high value man because he provides for his family. He doesn't lie. He tries not to, or at least he always tells the truth. He's honorable to his wife. All these things. Mm-hmm. And then we put high value on people like Dan Bilzerian because they have money and access to pleasure and all the riches of life. But like those things only last so long, right?
Well, is
that real value what Dan Bilzerian provides, or is it just like a big distraction from like what we were saying? Mm-hmm. Truly getting to like fulfillment because you're so distracted by yachts, parties, alcohol, all this stuff. So like, where's the real value?
Well, I think the value comes from the fact that like women want to reproduce with him. That's where the value is. Because if your purpose on earth is to reproduce as human beings, that's what it is, from a genetic level and a biblical level, or like a religious level. Bible, every religious text, Bible, Quran, it tells you you're here to reproduce, right? You're here to have children. But also genetically, scientifically, it says human beings, you're here to reproduce as well. So if that's the case, if the basis of human existence is to reproduce, recreate, which is why sex is pleasurable, which is why having a family is beautiful, I think that, yes, it makes him a high value man if he's the one that everyone wants to reproduce with. Because if that's the goal, like religiously and scientifically, that's the one common theme that human beings are here for, and everyone wants to do it with you, you're high value.
But there's another part to that reproduction goal in the Bible, which is like, reproduce with intention, and there's so much more to it. It's not like just like, go out, because then that's lustful.
Well, no, so here's
exactly. I think there's the desirability of the women to want to be able to reproduce with him. I think that's a portion of it. No, I think his resourcefulness and his ability to then, I don't want to say control, but have influence of everything, I think that also plays a role in the value as well. I think it's a lot of different factors. I think he's a high value man for a different reason than the honorable portion that Khabib holds. I think they both can exist within the same space, just on like different, specters.
But here's what I was gonna say also. I think he loses value as a man if he doesn't reproduce. So like, I don't know how old he is now. Is he like 40, 45? He's
gotta be like 40.
I don't know. Let's say he's 40, right? His clock is ticking. He's running out of time to reproduce. I think within the next couple years.
Well, not necessarily. I mean,
okay, fair.
Because he can reduce forever. I think Al Pacino or Robert De Niro just had a kid.
Within the next 10, 20 years, if he doesn't have a kid, let's say he's 60, never has kids, he loses his value as a man, because it's like you had all of this stuff granted to you. You had a mission created by the universe, and you didn't fulfill it. It's like almost like wasted potential at that point.
Yeah. Well, it depends.
Let's say he has 100 kids. It's like you've completed your mission.
But it would depend, because let's just say, because of course, adoption or whatever exists, but then you can also become a mentor to millions upon millions. Like I don't.
But how
think
can you
that-
mentor someone on having kids if you didn't have any?
No, correct. But then if you were to now take, somebody in and you were to now teach them and you were to take all the things that you learned and you now pass that down, I think you're still able to maintain that value. I don't think it's predicated on somebody actually being your seed to carry on the bloodline.
I think
it's
you have to
primarily
create-
attached to your counsel, to who it is that you've now have enlisted as your, I don't want to say successor, but somebody who's like your mentee kind of thing.
Fair.
I think if you're like a mentor, you can then pass that value down amongst the masses. I don't think it's predicated on like your actual by blood child, because let's just say if you're a situation where you were born and you're sterile, right? If you
Fair.
now are incapable of having kids, I don't think that's just a knock on, your value immediately, because at that point you're already born with a ceiling.
Fair, I understand that. But also, that's like saying you're being born with no legs. It's like you're born with a ceiling, but you could still be great in a sense.
Right.
Yeah, I get it.
You just have to find different ways. Like, I think that goes back to like with the reaching the same destination, just finding a different sort of avenue or a
Right.
different road to get there. Because with honor, I think, and truly with Khabib, he's not in the public eye like that, unless of course, he has an appearance or something like that. He's more behind the scenes. It's his wife, it's God, it's training. And he's so committed and dedicated to it. I think a lot of people, especially with the distractions, you find yourself in a situation where as you're ascending, you're building the value, you've now reached that value, you lose those core principles because they were never really established. If you have like non-negotiables in a relationship,
Right.
and the moment that non-negotiable is now the other party is trying to negotiate, you must walk away. The moment that you even engage in the negotiation, you're taking a step away from your morals, your principles, what it is that you stand for, because this is supposed to be a non-negotiable.